Skull, you Saturday savages. Here we go. Back in the day, before Rule Zero, just after the Pick Up Artist Epoc, in the middle of the EvoPsyc period, some ancient 10 years ago, emerging from a dark time in human intersexual dynamics, the godfather of the red pill himself came down from Lake Tahoe into Reno after receiving a vision from the burning shaved bush. He was given potent critical guidelines and observations as he connected the dots. He knew he would present these to the masses. The holy paper tablets, guidelines, and scientifically based observations on human behavior, written in pencil so that they could be adjusted in the future should more complete scientific information become available. He did this so that men would never again need to be shackled under the heavy burden of nagging, miserable, annoying, and insufferable relationships with women. This, gentlemen, is the cure to the dreaded oneitis and has saved many lives of men. The Rule Zero panel will discuss these commandments, maxims, and rules of thumb. Are they outdated?
Wow.
Listen to Rule Zero. Morning, gentlemen. Let me get the cameras right. How you guys doing this savage Saturday morning?
Outstanding.
Very good. That's an amazing intro.
Oh, the intro? You like the intro?
Great, man. That's great.
Which part?
It's the whole thing, man. Just the way the whole thing's put together.
I know. I got to step my intro game up.
Coming down from Lake Tahoe into Reno,
yeah.
from the ancient period of the Pick Up Artist Epoc.
I like the shaven burning bush.
Yeah.
Oh, he got the information from the burning shaved bush, gentlemen. I put my best Captain Kirk voice on for that, so hope you liked it.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
We'll see if the Godfather appreciates it. Written in pencil. So today we're going to talk about those commandments, though.
Yeah.
You know,
commandments. We got maxims. We've got rules of thumb. There's so much out there. Look, last night I just kept like dropping links in Telegram for you. I was like, hey, don't forget about these ones. Don't forget about these ones.
Well, there was shit I did forget about. We've been here so long, and it's like, holy shit, you know, you've got the tradcons coming on like wild animals right now, a bunch of jackals, and you know, for a while we were getting hit by the wokies and the basics. Do they even apply? I think there's going to be some even in the space that will argue, those are outdated. They don't work anymore.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you can see it.
Most people in the space have never even heard of this. Like they've never heard of the Book of Pook even. Like, guys, there's a website, right? It has the whole Book of Pook written on it. Guys, at least check it out. Like, if you're trying to say that you're in the red pill space or you're doing something red pill at all, even if you're going to talk shit about the red pill, like at least like get some of the material and read it, go through it, see what you think.
Or even better, get it on audiobook. Jack has his own version that he's narrated that you can get on his Gumroad.
Yeah, where can we get that, Jack?
Jack's
the link in the chat.
It's not even on Gumroad. It's on it's for members on my YouTube channel. So when you decide to support the channel, my thank you to you is my version of the whole Book of Book audiobook for free. There are fragments of it on my channel, but if you want the whole thing, you can download it for free on my channel.
There you go.
By becoming a member.
Yeah. No, it's really good. The information, there is information. Something I love about the red pill, and I'll call it out. I think the first commandment is to describe what the red pill actually is.
Rule 0.
The red pill is not a pill. It is a suppository, gentlemen. But we had to use marketing and other such things so that people would like it. We didn't want to run around calling it the red suppository.
Some guys prefer it being a suppository.
We didn't even want people to like it. I mean, that's where the whole yes, Victoria. I keep forgetting her name. They use a female name. I keep forgetting it. It's like, yes, Victoria, you have to be an asshole, or we have to be an asshole.
Yeah.
They used certain post titles that were meant to have a little bit of shock value to either get people to just turn away or be interested by the vulgar language.
Using bait.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, especially for the forums, because how many spaces do men really have to just be vulgar anymore?
None.
Like, men tend to be a bit more direct in their language, and when you're at an office, you can't do that because you're going to offend people. Yep. When you are at normal work, you get I mentioned the office, but just in work in general, you can't do it because people are going to be offended. Then you might have hobbies somewhere. You can't do it and you're going to be offended. Then all of a sudden you find this internet forum of all anonymous guys, and they can at least express a little bit of anger and vulgarity. Like how to get laid like a warlord. The whole piece is just about like fixing a little bit of your inner game, actually approaching things like that. Stop being afraid of poon. But the whole title is like, what the hell, warlord? Like, what the hell does that even mean? Shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the whole offended things. On a side note, I just spent 6 hours on a class. We're not even using offended in corporate America anymore here in California. We're using unwelcoming. If you are unwelcoming, can you believe that shit? Instead of saying
I've heard that before.
you have. Yeah.
Oh,
that's the newest woke unconscious bias thing is you're unwelcoming. Big part of you have to play with words like that. That seems abusive. Language called microaggressions. You ever hear of that?
I always
microaggressions, yeah.
No, there was a video last week of a black girl who got complimented. She was streaming and got complimented by somebody about her hair. She said, "Could you not talk about my hair looking good?" That's a microaggression. It's like, what? You can't even give people a compliment.
I was watching
girls.
I was watching the movie Hot Fuzz the other day. You guys seen Hot Fuzz?
Yes.
British
Yeah.
comedy?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those little jokes in there where he's like, oh, they don't like it being called the police force anymore. It's called the police service because force sounds too aggressive.
Yeah.
It's just all this school marm bullshit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, you can't talk that loudly. That's rude. That might hurt someone's feelings. I have to deal with this. I have to deal with stuff with this with my kid because my kid gets in trouble at school, and then I have to have a meeting with the teacher or whatever. And it's just he's just doing normal little kid stuff. But they're like, oh my God, like he has to write a story, and he writes a story, and it's kind of like edgy. You know, he had to draw a picture of some cavemen, and he drew a picture of stick figures and him pushing his friend off the mountain and just on some cliffs. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's little kid funny stuff. And she's like, oh my God, this could really offend somebody. You have to watch what you're drawing.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting the times that we're going through. And you know what the real answer is some of these commandments, guidelines, rules of thumb, they are perennial. This is what used to be taught to our boys. You know, at first you're a baby, and then you're a toddler, then you're a boy, not a girl, you're a boy, but very similar. Boys and girls are very similar. And then something happens. Girls become women. Men or boys must become men. There is a process. Could it be rites of passage? Just going through puberty doesn't cut it. One of the reasons we see the sexless males today is because they're essentially adult boys. They have not acquired the status, the ability, the social acuity to be called men. And the only way they can be called men is not that they have a dick and balls. No, that's not the definition of a man. It is that other men that have acquired the status of being a man recognize him as a man. women will fall right in line with that. So how do we do that? Some of these commandments that Paul has dug up from the ancient archives in the Pick-Up Artist Epoch are solid, and they would actually be good to teach to young boys because, now they would be unwelcoming to listen to the language. It might be viewed as unwelcoming considering the woke culture. In fact, that's a big problem we have with the red pill right now. I don't see it as a problem. I see it as a good thing because they always say, oh, it's the way you say it. Right, Jack? It's the way you say it. It's not what it is.
It's your tone.
It's your tone.
Like your tone.
It's not. So it's not
the whole tone. It's like you're judgmental.
It's like the tone.
It's like you're judgmental. It's like you're goddamn right. I am. Glad I am. In most cases, like you have to be judgmental about certain things. If you want to have your life in order, you better be judgmental. You know what you want, and if people don't abide by that, it's like, no, I don't want to deal with your shit.
How else do you enforce boundaries? How else do you create boundaries unless you're extremely judgmental about everything? What the food you ate, like our ancestors, they were very judgmental about which berries and which things they ate, right? It's like if they ate some berries and they felt sick, like they judged the shit out of those berries and they didn't eat those berries again.
Yeah, I didn't rely on unconscious bias to not eat the poison berries.
Yeah.
Those berries have a specific color and we're inclusive, so all berries of all colors are welcome.
But then the woke people are very intolerant as well, aren't they? That's the irony.
They're most intolerant. They're supremacists. They want to rule and own and tell everybody what to do.
Yeah, so they're very.
I mean, it's hypocritical. And this is what conservatives get wrong about the woke people. They don't care; they're hypocrites. They care about winning.
That's right, and that's why
that's the whole thing. They really don't care they're a hypocrite. They just care about winning. Like, we're intolerant of you because you're the opposition, and we want you to lose. So damn right.
Yeah. It's amazing how much alike, the either sides are. They use the same tactics. I've got a little bit of an echo off Rollo.
Yeah,
better.
Muted him real quick.
So, is he back at Tahoe, or has he come down from Tahoe to Reno? Welcome, Rollo Tomasi.
There we go. How's that? Better?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had echo cancellation.
No worries, man.
Really have to find a new solution. I'm starting to hate on StreamYard these days.
Yeah.
It has happened with Restream. Restream's been working.
Yeah, Restream's good. I like. I'm looking at Riverside FM right now. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's unbearable on StreamYard these days. I don't know what the hell they think they're doing.
Riverside, has Riverside made it so that you can bring super chats up? Because they didn't have that for a while.
I'm sure they will at some point. I would love to. That's the only thing that's really sort of keeping me from like transitioning over to like StreamYard to something else, because that's the like fly-ons and fly-offs is really what it's about, especially if you're doing like a panel show. But if you're doing like a solo show, then it's almost better to use even OBS. Well, because if it's just a solo show of one person, you don't need StreamYard.
No, really. There's a delay too when you start sharing stuff. It was really bad a couple weeks ago. It's gotten slightly better, but I wrote them on it too. So
and the very fact that would really convince me to stay with StreamYard is if they had a fucking dark mode. Like, can you please? Like, how long have people been asking you for this?
It burns my eyes.
It's one of those things that could be pretty easy.
So I have to like rig it in Chrome to do a dark mode. Like, this is what it looks like when it's not. See?
Yeah, you get a lot of that side lighting that you don't want.
It's like, especially if I'm like on the stream, like if I do like this, it like the glare because I'm right up on my monitor right here, right? But then if you go back to dark mode, bam.
Yep, big difference. Yeah,
so
but I have to do that. I have to do that in Chrome, not in StreamYard.
I presume everybody here has Twitter on dark mode as well.
Always, yeah.
Always. Yeah. So what?
Well, it should just come that way, right?
Could be.
So back to the.
I didn't mean to interrupt. So that's my complaint for today.
Twitter is dark mode, just on its own.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. Yeah. So back to the topic today. We had a wonderful introduction to the commandments, and now Rollo's here. We can really get engaged in these things. I think the most foundational of all of the Maxims commandments in this space, what we talk about the most, if we really boil it down, is the cardinal rule that Rollo wrote about.
Which
The
one?
cardinal
I have several.
rule.
I have several of them actually.
Frame is
You
everything.
do, but it's the first one you put in your book, really.
Cardinal rule of
There-
relationships, or the cardinal.
Oneitis.
The
There is
cardinal
no
rule of
one.
relationships is the first stated one. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
that's
so
the
important.
I'll tell you the reason why I wanted to like make sure I chimed in on this one is because I'm actually writing a book called Maxims right now, which is why where do these guys come up with these wild and crazy ideas? Like what is it? Like there's so many different like red pill / manosphere maxims that I don't think enough people really understand where they come from. I'm actually writing this book for Pearl, so she's better educated when she's like trying to defend a point.
Good.
She clearly doesn't
Is it
understand.
dedicated to her as well?
She
you
needs,
know what?
she needs a draft right now.
I will now.
She needs a draft right now.
Yeah, she does. She absolutely does. No, it's because we always have these sayings like, she's not yours, it's just your turn. Like people go, oh, I can't believe that. How outrageous. Like they don't understand like the like in this case, probably like a decade, maybe 20 years of people like coming up to that sort of like that maxim, right?
Yeah, where it came from, right, Rollo? I mean, that would be helpful too. You know,
I'm explaining that, and they're very brief chapters. They're only like maybe like 2 pages maximum, but because there's so many maxims to cover, right?
I wanted to bring up that maxim because I think that horse is still breathing. It's like, by God, man, after the beating that took.
Yeah. Well, there's the other one. One of them I was just recently writing was women will break rules for alphas and make rules for betas. That's a maxim. If you look at what every man wants a slut, he just wants her to be his slut. That's another maxim. I'm glad. Did you bring up the 16 Commandments of Poon?
I have them here, but I also have the.
Those are definitely maxims.
That's the first one we had brought up, but I can share that if you'd like.
Well, anyways, the cardinal rule of relationships goes something like this: is that because men and women's relationship, this is also a maxim. The cardinal rules are, and this is out of my book, so like don't take this as like gospel that somebody else would agree or disagree with it. But the cardinal rule of relationships goes something like this: is that it is for one sex's sexual strategy or mating strategy to succeed, the other ones has to either be compromised or abandoned entirely. So what that means is like for men, men's innate sexual strategy is unlimited access to unlimited sexuality, right? For women, it's hypergamy, right? Alpha fucks, beta bucks. For one of those to be the dominant, or for one of those strategies to be on top, because those are adversarial, like men and women's mating strategies are adversarial. So for one of them to be consolidated or complete, the other one has to sort of drop their standards or has to drop or compromise aspects of that strategy in order for the other one to be the preeminent one. And so that's really all that comes down to. So if a woman wants to have like long-term security and she wants to have alpha fucks or whatever, that guy has to forsake all others. That's all for the cardinal rule of relationships. All you have to do is look at wedding vows, and you'll understand the difference between those two. I used that one like last week when I was hosting, and I used that one clip of the black couple who were being married in that probably Baptist church, and the woman's like, obey, we didn't talk about marriage counseling, like that kind of stuff, or the he can't be broke, for rich or for poor, right? Those are fail safes to keep a marriage together, because whoever was writing the traditional marriage vows understood human nature and women's nature, men's nature well enough to write in forsaking all others, in sickness and in health, for rich or for poor, till death do us part, to obey, blah, 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 love, honor, and obey, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. The traditional wedding vows are actually really a contract that negotiates, if you think about it, negotiates both women's sexual strategy and men's sexual strategy, so that they can come together, form a family, and at least have some sort of understanding about like what's expected of the other party, right? Because that's all wedding vows are. It's just it's a contract negotiation. Right.
Absolutely. I did get the 16 Commandments. If anybody wants to reference them, we have that up today. I really like the ones that came out of Pook too. That's pretty old. I don't know which one came out first, but these are all
gotta be Pook.
Gotta be Pook. Yeah, these were all back in the day of the formats where you were a moderator, right, Rollo?
Oh, I was a moderator at So Suave right up until about 2015, and then I was just doing too much. I couldn't maintain. But yeah, I'll tell you this. You know, it's funny when people talk about the red pill this or the red pill. People think that the red pill and manosphere and everything is just like yesterday's. Like it just was invented like 2 years ago. Andrew Tate. As soon as Andrew Tate arrived on the scene, the manosphere. Whoa! Yeah. If you go back and you look at the SoSwap forums, they go way back to 2002.
Yes,
21 years ago, and the forum is still up, still going strong, and people are still participating in it right now.
Yeah, one of the 10 commandments from Mr. Fingers we have available from SoSwap, actually.
Yeah, I think I used to know the owner, the proprietor. I don't think it's changed hands since then. The guy's name is Alan. I would love to interview Alan and see what he thinks after 20 plus years.
Yeah, speaking of SoSwap, it is still active and up to date, as you can see here. And he talks about the 10 commandments and refers to it, and it jumps us over to that's Pook. But if it jumps us over, you can see some of the lessons of Pook as well. And then, of course, there is what you're familiar with too.
People always ask me if I'm Pook. No, I'm not Pook. Thank you.
You're not Pook.
I was not Pook. You know, I'll tell you what's funny is like when I joke about like Tate, I tell Pearl, I tell the rest of these idiots that, you know, hey, you know what? The red pill and the manosphere doesn't begin and end with Andrew Tate.
Yeah, exactly.
Go back in time to Pook. It really, actually, I mean, you can go back to literally. By the way, the SoSwap forum that you're looking at right there, that's the second version of that.
It is. It's the 2019.
It started in like 1999, 2000, and then they revamped the forum like with the different software, and they had to reboot the forum in like 2002. So like, I can't find any of my posts prior to 2002 because that's when I joined, was 2002. Wow. Of the new one. I used to belong to the first like SoSwap 1.0, which really, if I can't really actually prove it because I don't know where the old forum is, but I had posts as far back as like 2000 on that forum.
Wow. I mean, who would have thought, really? And of course, you know, 10 years ago you put out the Rational Male. You know, once you got the Holy Visions up at Lake Tahoe from the
Holy Visions. Actually, I think I was in Reno in that. No, I wasn't. No, when I was yeah, it would have been Reno, and then Orlando is when I published.
Heretic. That's what the TradCons would have them say about you.
You wrote that libertarian 10 years ago, and now we've got Lena the Plug, and we've got Matt Walsh arguing, and we've got like the whole carnival. I mean, did you expect to see that? Probably not, right?
No, but I did expect. I mean, I said this on Fresh and Fit back in 2021. Was that, you know, is the red pill going mainstream? I hope not. Well, why? Because people will come into the space and pretend to be responsible, you know, representatives, and they like knowledgeable representatives of the space, and they know nothing about it. I mean, even well-meaning guys too. I'm not saying that everybody's doing it maliciously. I'm just saying that, I mean, there are definitely malicious agents in it, but like even people who are very well-meaning will not be able to defend certain aspects of the red pill because they or the maxims that we're talking about, because they just simply don't know the background of those maxims.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about marriage, though, isn't it? Because the maxim about sexual strategy and one sexual strategy having to overpower the other, it kind of underpins this whole thing. Because when a guy gets married, and with all due respect to married people on the panel, but in some ways you are abdicating your sexual strategy, aren't you? Now, you might do that, fully aware of that, and you're fine with that. You're okay with that. That's a decision you've made. But you kind of are, aren't you, in a way? Because surely the sexual strategy for the male is to go and spread your seeds.
Well, so let me explain that, because I cover that in the cardinal rule of relationships, which is I said that for one party's sexual strategy to succeed, the other has to either be compromised or abandoned. Okay. Fortunately, today men feel like it's their masculine duty to abandon it entirely. Yes. Whereas prior to like the sexual revolution, really kind of like, I would say even into the mid 70s, and maybe you could even make a case for the early 80s, men were more about compromising it rather than abandoning it. Now today, like with the millennial generation and Gen Z, they believe that that's part of the marriage package. I have to completely give up all my dreams, all my hopes, fucking random bitches, you know, everything else. But I have to be this servant leader. I have to be this serviceable person for my wife because I have to lift her up all the time. For her to be more, I must become less. Basically,
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life, and they take that literally. That's an ultimatum, by the way. That's not folk wisdom. That's an ultimatum.
It's almost more than that now, isn't it? Because it's almost now you've got the trad-cons, and it's like if you're not married, you're not, and you don't abdicate all of that, then you're not a real man.
Yeah,
you're not a real man until you've given up everything.
Exactly. And they play right. You want to know? That's feminist ideology. When I say every guy that's born after 1965 is a feminist, or they have some sort of feminist ideology that's been crammed into their head that they just simply take for granted. They don't even know that they're like that. They can't catch themselves on their own speech, their own self-talk, because it's so integral to who what their personalities are about. So exactly. So when Matt Walsh or any of these other talking heads from Daily Wire start talking about, it's your masculine duty to basically lie down and die.
Yeah.
But when you lay down and die, you should be making six figures. You should be 6 feet tall. You should have six-pack abs. You should drive a very fast sports car, and then consider her your equal. Yeah, it's all Rich Cooper's like bylines. But then you should just die to yourself and just live for your wife and your family. And
so Troy,
country,
Troy, you talk about
don't really gel in the same person.
So you talk about men when they get married having to kind of subvert their sexual strategy, so to speak. Correct? I mean, that's what you're saying.
I don't think they have to, though, because I
don't think so either. And what I was going to pose to the panel before we get into the next topic was, I think that the most successful ones I have observed is the man takes that sexual strategy and he may keep it just under the surface. It's on idle. It doesn't go away. In fact, it's right there, and then it shines a little bit here and there, just on the surface.
There are definitely guys. I mean, I saw bringing the takes into it again. I mean, I saw a short where Tristan was talking about their setup, and obviously they've got different baby mamas. There's different women involved and stuff, and they're not advocating, for traditional monogamous marriage by any means. So there are people who are, and I know many other people who are sort of pushing the boundaries of this. It's like, well, it's open on my end. I can still do my stuff. So I don't think it's that the guy has to submit his sexual agency in a marriage. It's just that's really what the Matt Walshes of this world are advocating for.
Oh, they do.
But that's even a red pill maxim. She gets first crack at your libido, not sole custody.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan Stone. Channeling your inner Ryan Stone. No, I was going to say, Troy, you're absolutely right about that, because I think that's what most traditional conservatives are really kind of grating against right now. It's their biggest beef, I think, with the sphere in general. And I'm going to just point out one example. When Justin Waller was on whatever podcast and sitting across the table from Lila Rose, and Lila Rose was just inconceivable to her that a guy who is as high value, obviously blatantly high value as Justin Waller was, could not be responsible just to, her definition of responsibility is give up all your pussy and give up all your options and give up everything for that one girl, so that you can have this really the idealistic utopian scenario of closed on his end, closed on her end, and have this happy little family with 2 kids and a golden retriever in the front yard and all that other crap, right? And she just could not wrap her head around the fact that he is so high value that he can find women who are more than willing to share him. In fact, they know that that makes them hot, that they have to share them because they're in competition with the other girls who want to be the one, who want to be the baby mama, who want the ring, who want to be the queen and not the concubine kind of thing. She just couldn't wrap her head around that because it flies in the face of the cardinal rule of relationships. When women consider, they probably don't even read my book, but if they were to consider the cardinal rule of relationships, they go, yeah, of course, he has to compromise his sexual strategy and abandon his sexual strategy for mine, right? That's the whole playbook for a conservative way of thinking. So when a guy like Justin Waller comes in and he says, no, bitch, you have to compromise your sexual strategy for mine so that because I'm so high value that if you won't, there's like 10 other bitches in my fucking, my IG, DMs that are more than willing to do that.
Yep.
And that just sets them off like nothing else.
It sure does. Look at this, guys. I want to do some housekeeping. We got a super chat here. Remember, these channels, all of us, every one of us runs a YouTube channel, and we appreciate the super chats. That's what keeps us afloat, really. We're pretty much demonetized on everything we ever do.
And dog food, and that's about all it affords.
Yeah, and we have some really good dogs, don't we, Rolo?
Got a really big dog.
Yeah, well, I got a really tiny one. He doesn't eat much, but hey, I don't get money super chats, so that works really well.
That bag of dog food. Thank you very much.
Feed my dog for a week. Think outside the container. $5, much appreciated. TradCon's claim male promiscuity is feminism. What's your guys' rebuttal to that? Who wants to stab first? Oh, Jack, can you show that? I'd like to go.
I mean, this is my rebuttal to that. In all honesty.
Jack,
I say you guys are poo-poo heads.
full rebuttal.
Jesus. But it's that goddamn egalitarian standpoint again that men and women are the same. We are not. We are not. It's that simple. You can't compare us. It's apples and oranges. Done.
I don't even fully understand the argument, to be honest.
I do. Yeah.
Men must give up everything for women, but women not.
I don't want to dominate the conversation. So Paul,
feminism is destroying the family. So
Paul Benjamin, go.
Yeah. So
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And ruining good women.
So if you sleep around, you're ruining good women.
Licking the ice cream.
You're playing into the feminist part. They're whatever they're
licking the ice cream. Yes.
TradCons are feminists at their core.
Aston Martin.
Yes, they're the same. It's the same bird.
One second. I gotta go. Well, I'll be right back, and I'll get into it. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Okay, let me say what Paul was gonna say. No, anything that the red pill says that like traditional conservatives disagree with is feminism now. Basically, it's instead of feminism, instead of saying instead of doing this, what?
Misogyny.
Instead of misogyny, it's feminism. Everything that we disagree with is feminism.
I sort of get what they're saying, but yes. it's a very convoluted argument, isn't it? They're just desperate to apply that feminism.
Everything is feminism.
It's the talking point that sounds good.
Well, they only stick to binaries, though. Notice, I mean it. I mean,
you've seen that meme? Have you seen that meme with the children's book that says "Everyone I don't like is Hitler"? Everything I don't like is feminism. That's basically the meme. They just throw down, they just erase the Australian, artist.
We got a few kilowatts for the robot dog there, John. Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate the 669, and the pun is fully intended.
John Fish we all have dogs except for John Fish. He has a robot dog.
I have a bear.
A robot bear.
You have a robot bear.
Whoa. My dog is ginormous. He put on an extra 5 pounds. I don't know, it's like 127 now.
You gotta stop feeding the Tremboloni sandwiches.
Kids. He's feeding them kids.
Sandwiches.
Glenn's dog is on trend.
Feeding them homeless people.
Contact
Tremboloni sandwiches.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say anything that trads don't like is feminism today. So like they like it, whatever it is. Like the red pill is anti-marriage. It's feminism. Oh, the red pill wants guys to just go fuck random hoes. It's feminism. Oh, they wipe their ass with this type of toilet paper. It's feminism. It doesn't matter.
Oh, he's back.
You don't.
Sorry, I had a dog emergency there for a second.
Was it a robot dog emergency?
I got the robot dog.
Yeah, the robot dogs we're testing here for the government. State of California.
I'm making that t-shirt.
Oh, you wanted to comment on this particular super chat. Right? I think you had an answer.
Yeah, just like so the argument I think is that because feminism is promoting promiscuity for women, all right, so like in other words, having women go explore their sexuality and do their thing. Yeah, sex positive. That then if you're racking up notch counts as a guy, and if you're a promiscuous guy, then that means you're somehow supporting feminism, right? You're supporting.
I got news for trads. Every guy is sex positive. Sorry.
Right. Right. But I mean, Jack, from before I left, Jack has made the point, you know, the good point, which is that men and women are different, right? So it just doesn't really like the same rules don't apply. You know, what would make a guy sexually successful in his sexual strategy? Won't say just sexually, but in general, what would make him successful in the sexual strategy that will work for a man isn't the same that would work for a woman. You know what I mean?
It's just it doesn't really work because men's, as you said, I mean, men's sexual strategy is to go out and spread their seed. And I mean, even the likes of Matt Walsh, I think if he looked into the very depths of his soul and was honest with himself, if he really had the opportunity, and look, I mean, I'm sure he'd strongly deny it, but let's be honest, most dudes, if they had the opportunity to be promiscuous with a bunch of extremely attractive women, would they want to do that? Probably yes. Now, he may have made a choice not to do that because of his marriage and blah, blah, blah. But intrinsically, that's what we all kind of want to do. So we can't say it's feminism; it's just male.
It's just instinct. But
which goes to the maxim of a key that opens every lock is a master key, but a lock that can be opened by many keys is a worthless lock.
Well, so
really,
yeah.
And a guy who opens no locks is a masturbator.
That's right.
Well, hi, Glenn.
I heard somebody was talking about my dog on trend. Damn right.
Oh, Mike's
damn right.
Attack trend.
We're all on trend.
Well, yeah, I forgot what
Master of
anyway,
Bates.
that's right. Well, I mean, so yeah. So like this, the thing is, it's like the thing that's crazy to me is that tradcons even understand, like they should understand, at least biblically, if they were looking at, you know, any of the Judeo-Christian, you know, whatever, the three big ones, right? It's like men and women are complementary. Like some things that what's going to advance a woman's sexual strategy is different than what's going to advance a man's sexual strategy. But like you put them together for a relationship, they can complement each other and create for a really good check and balance system. You know what I mean? Like a guy may give up, you know, railing through a bunch of hoes, let's say, right, in order to start a family and to be in a commitment. He may choose to do that, even though he could. But the point is that his strategy is that he has options, right? He's not, the strategy that works for a man is having the ability to have options. And the strategy that works for a woman is she always has options. Like a woman always has options, doesn't have to do very much for that. So her strategy is to push away all the other options and to go for the highest, you know, value person that she can find and to maintain her, you know, sexual fidelity, we could say, right? So railing through a bunch of dudes, that's not helping a girl in her sexual strategy. Now you put these two things together, a seed spreading strategy, and then find the best mate I can have and try to lock that guy down strategy. And you can, you know, put those two people together and actually have a good kind of complement where there's a little bit of a check and balance on either side. Right. And, that can lead to long-term success. It's crazy to me, like the idea that tradcons have that if you give up what makes a man have power in his sexual strategy to just go for her and advance her goals, her needs, and her strategy, it's like you're not checking or balancing now the other side of it. Like she has unlimited power now in the sexual marketplace under this model where she can do exactly what a lot of women do, which is find a guy that they can basically enslave as a resource slave, you know, and meet all of her imperatives, have the kids, have some resources, money, whatever, divorce when she's still young enough to then go have some more fun in her late 30s. I mean, you end up with this situation of unchecked power. And we know that anybody put in a position of power unchecked, you know, including any of us, there's that opportunity for abuse, right? And so it's the tradcons are not empowering men because they're not recognizing that there's a sexual strategy for men that gives them power in the sexual marketplace that kind of checks and balances the woman's power that she has in the sexual marketplace. You know, they're not recognizing that. And so that's the main issue. right? By saying, oh, guys being promiscuous, well, that's feminism. I get the argument, but the problem is they're ignoring that there are two different sexual strategies here, not one strategy, which is the Christian ideal of, well, the one strategy is that we get married and have a couple of children and stayed married for life and all that stuff. That's not really the instinctual biological strategy that drives behavior. Right. That's just an ideal put out by their, your religious beliefs, which is fine to have those ideals, but you got to recognize the instincts,
Well, it's also the investment, right, and the consequences. And Rolo, you got to help me out on this one, what I'm trying to word here. So the repercussions of a woman having sex 9 months pregnant. Yes. Okay. But a guy, like, our innate urge, everything we do is for what? To have sex. But, well, woman at a certain point, pregnant, whatever, a guy doesn't feel very comfortable with it. She might not be in it. But what about his needs and things like that? So it's natural for him to still go after it, even though he's impregnated one of them. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
It's about his needs. Let's get the needs thing right out of the okay with it. Like, no one cares about men's needs.
We do. You wrote a whole book about that.
I found the TradCon argument really fascinating. I find it fascinating.
Kind of makes sense what I'm saying here. Like, even like the whole biological perspective of it, the repercussions of promiscuity for women is way higher than it is of men. Right. So for a man to be promiscuous, not putting morals in here, but is a more natural response anyway to the whole biological perspective.
Okay, so you have to remember, okay, two things. One is needs is chick speak. That's number one. Okay, that's like no, I'm not, and I'm not.
I have needs, sir.
Just like what about needs? What about my needs? Guys never get to say what about my needs? No, guys never say that.
Get what I need.
You men have been in control for like centuries and millennia. What about your needs? Fuck you. But no, I mean, the serious to your serious point here. It's a reproductive return on investment. Basically, it's sunk cost. It's there's a lot of like economics that go into like who's more like sperm is cheap and eggs are expensive, right? That's really what it boils down to. And it's who has the higher reproductive costs, which is women. It's always going to be women, no matter what. And even you could say, well, what about technology and cesarean births and fertility clinics? Yeah, that's true, but like that doesn't change the human machine. Women's psyche and men's psyche is still, came to a screeching halt 200,000 years ago on the sub-Saharan African plains. Okay, like in hunter-gatherer tribes, we're essentially the same animals that we were about 100,000 years ago. Okay, so the idea that either one sex's like sexual strategy should preempt the other this is a recent creation. This is all like post-sexual revolution, by the way. So you're only looking at like maybe 50 or 60 years when we have adopted these attitudes. So that's the first thing. The other thing is why should one be more important than the other? That's why. So like why isn't what Justin Waller was arguing for with Lila Rose, why isn't that the moral perspective rather than Lila Rose's saying, oh, I can't believe you can't be self-controlled and have only one wife? And why is that the moral imperative? And that's the good way of thinking. And Justin's the bad. Why is it not the other way around? Right.
Because that's how TradCons have framed the argument, Rollo.
Because everything defers to the feminine imperative.
Well, see what they're trying to do when they're saying like, red pill is feminism for guys. They're just trying to basically say like, hey guys, you guys are a bunch of bitches because you're acting like women.
No, it's shaming language. They are acting like
women. That's exactly what they're trying to say.
Feminism is the new Nazi. Is what it is. It's basically feminism is anything that I don't like is feminism. Anything.
Well, they know that feminism would be the most insulting term that they could apply.
Yeah. It's just like calling a dude a bitch.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, but getting back to your point, like this, who has the better investment, right? Well, as explained a million times on Fresh and Fit and by myself as well, is that it takes a high value guy to be able to pull that off in the first place. Okay. So when women complain about guys like, oh, guys are, are dogs and they just want to fuck anything on two legs, and they're talking about the apex fallacy is essentially what it is. They're talking about the top of the pyramid guys. And then there's women in the middle. And then at the base of that pyramid is just a vast swath of all human males that are getting no pussy, or they're getting just enough to sort of like keep them on like drip fed pussy to keep them on life support, more or less.
Drip fed.
So
no pun intended.
Well, so like when women complain about men, they're not complaining about the majority, the overwhelming massive majority of the 80%ers that they don't find attractive. In fact, they don't even know they exist because they're invisible. They're talking about the Justin Wallers because they all feel like they deserve that guy. So whenever I have to like defend hypergamy, when people are saying like, oh, it's really, a sort of mating, bullshit it is, because when women complain about men, they're complaining about the 8s, the 9s, and the 10s. They're not complaining about the 4s and below. They're complaining about the Justin Wallers and the Jason Momoas and the guys who are like the badasses, because they all think that they're entitled to that dude now. So when we have these conversations, I have to stop everyone in their tracks and say, look, this is the apex fallacy. You don't even, it's so like intrinsic to the way you think and your personality and who you are, your identity, that you don't even think about like the guy who's the Filipino kid who's like 5'4" working at CVS. That guy is not who you're complaining about. You're complaining about the guy you think you deserve at the top of the fucking pyramid. So until you recognize that, we can't even have a conversation.
So why did they get so twisted? I mean, this brings us back to Commandment 3 of 16 Commandments of Poon. It's, we say, make your mission your priority, not your woman. They go berserk when they say you yourself, you are the priority, not the woman. And then they use shaming language, insult language. I mean, I just watched something by Matt Walsh and what's the other guy? Not boring. Michael. Michael, no nothing. It sounds like a woman complaining about rule number 3 or commandment number 3. What's your take on that?
Commandment 3 is this: you shall make your mission, not your woman, your priority. Forget all those romantic cliches of the leading man proclaiming his undying love for the woman who completes him. Despite whatever protestations to the contrary, women do not want to be the one or the center of a man's existence. They, in fact, want to subordinate themselves to a worthy
excellent
life purpose to help him achieve that purpose with their feminine support and to follow the path he lays out. You must respect a woman's integrity and not lie to her that she is your everything. She is not your everything. And if she is, she will soon not be yours anymore.
And if you want to make a woman unhappy, give her everything she wants.
That's so true.
That's
so true. I mean, that's incredible. And then, of course, you just follow up with number 4, which is don't play by rules. We did a whole episode on it, and they go berserk, especially the TradCons. They go really berserk on this.
I love Make Her Jealous. Always makes them crazy too.
Make Her Jealous.
looks to the side.
I don't know why we're saying like one is above the other.
But doesn't that go back to what we were talking about when a guy gets married, is to keep his sexual agency or his strategy just at the surface instead of burying it or abandoning it.
Well,
without it being said,
it always needs to be, a priority at the surface. It's not that a guy shouldn't have sexual discipline. If I'm out at some dirty clubs in Detroit while my girlfriend's at home banging crackheads, that's a problem, right? Like, no, okay, that's a problem. But having sexual discipline, that's not to say that you don't have that, but the point is that you can, right? Like, you're not subjecting yourself to losing all of your sexual market value where you couldn't. You see, and that's where like a lot of the dad bod push, oh, dad bods are hot, like all this crap is to subjugate a man to being unattractive, and then that way the girl feels that
rice.
Well, that way that
I'm going to use that maxim, by the way. I'll be using that one. Sorry, John, I'm stealing that.
but you know, so it's like it's to subjugate this guy to make her, because remember, girls are always, their desire creates a bunch of tension, and then they want to feel safe, so they need to do things to try to make them feel comfortable and to make them feel like their sexual strategy is going to be safe and they can be safe with this guy and all this stuff. There's always this push-pull between tension and comfort in a woman's hindbrain and in her mind. And Troy knows this because he teaches guys how to use this to pick them up.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've got the classic book. What's the classic book? Female Psychology by Practical Female Psychology by Frank.
Yeah, it's not a bad book.
Where it talks about the betarization process, whereby what you're describing, you know, you get into that relationship, then you start making the concessions, you know, you start maybe not working out as much, the dad bod starts to come in,
right?
And guess what? She starts to lose attraction.
Yep.
You know? And then you're screwed, because when the attraction goes, then suddenly she's looking at the pool boy, she's looking at Steve from accounts, whatever, and you know you're in trouble. So you've definitely got to keep yourself sharp in relationships. I think you're right about sexual discipline, though. I mean, I think that, look, if someone wants to enter into a monogamous relationship, and even if they want to get married, I mean, that's, you know, it's up to you. I mean, do what you want to do with the information that's available. But I think you should at least be acknowledging the fact that you are, if that's what you're going to do and you're going to stick with that, you should at least be acknowledging the fact that, okay, listen, I'm making a decision to subjugate my sexual strategy because I want to be with this woman. And I think the problem with the Matt
the juice better be worth the squeeze, right? Like, I'm giving this up, so I better be getting what I need.
The issue with all the Matt Walshes and all the people who are thumping the tub on Twitter about marriage at the moment is they don't even acknowledge that. It doesn't even come into the conversation at all.
Thumping the tub. I'm going to use that one. What the fuck is that?
That's an English euphemism
for you won't, mate.
Thumping the tub.
But well, yeah, though, and that's it. It's like a guy, you know, he's giving up. He should recognize that he should never give up himself or give up the things that make him attractive, because the things that make him attractive are also the things that are valuable to him. You know, being in shape is valuable to a man for himself, not just for girls, for example, right? And so being socially calibrated and stuff is better for a guy just to exist in the world, let alone, you know, in order to attract women or his woman, right? So you don't want to give up, you know, yourself and subjugate yourself and make yourself unattractive. Well, because I got married and, you know, we're together for life. We said the magic words, like that's where the push is. And if you notice, like, if you look between the lines, that's where the society kind of pushes guys to want to give up. It's when giving up your sexual strategy means giving up your attractiveness to other women and settling in a relationship. And that's a mistake. I'm not saying that a guy shouldn't, you know, maintain his commitment if that's what he wants, but it's like, no, he has the ability to be attractive in general. He's doing the things to be attractive. And not only that, he's doing his own part of that is doing his own purpose in his work and providing value to the world and to himself.
Well,
independent.
That's 100%. I 100% agree. And then, yes, that's the maxim I was just about to call up here is women don't want a man to cheat, but they love a man who could cheat. But here's the caveat to that. Here's the little asterisk on that. You have to be doing it because it's part of your personality. You have to be doing it because that's who you are, as opposed to, oh, okay, here's an opportunity. It can't be contrived, I guess is what I'm saying.
Part of your identity.
Like women will sniff that shit out because if you're like predominant personality, like traits and attributes and everything is like you're loyal to a fault and you're like, oh, don't worry, honey, I love you. And then suddenly you like turn it on a dime. And she's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like there's no such thing as an alpha with a side of beta. And there's no such thing as a beta with a side of alpha. Women love that shit. I want a guy who's nice and soft and pliable and loving and everything, but I want him to man up and kick ass when he needs to. And when the mugger comes to the car with a gun, he's going to pull out his gun and shoot him, right? That's the beta with the side of alpha. Ladies, you will not find that anywhere in like the natural world. So like, and if you do, it's usually that guy is like, you know, he's having a fit. right? If a guy, if there's a guy who's like a beta, and like he's predominantly, shows his, he's caring and provisioning and loving and generous and kind and, funny and everything else, but he's still the dad bod guy. And then suddenly he becomes like the hot bod guy. Then you're like, what happened? Like, that's when women get like really shaky because they want predictability in a guy, first of all. But then like when they see, Brock the bartender and they go, man, hey, that guy looks like he'd be a real fun, rolling the hay. Then that's what, like, whatever, like we were talking about this on Access Vegas on Thursday. It's like whatever women tend to be lacking in their man, they look for in another guy. Right. So unless you are doing that as a natural, that's why I tell guys, if they're like trying to get their wives to have sex with them again, I always say, like break up with your wife in your head. And at the very, I'm not saying, file papers. I'm saying break up with her. Like, she's now just a single girl who happens to be a roommate. She might as well, right? She's not fucking you. So she's lives in your house and everything else. What would you do if you found yourself single tomorrow? You would probably change your whole lifestyle. You get it back in the gym. You start, like doing projects that you never were thinking of before. And what happens is if you do this in a gradual sense, rather than like stark, like turn it around. Okay, bitch, you better do what I said. Then that becomes an ultimatum, as opposed to a genuine change in your life that she goes, oh, he's going to the gym a lot more now. What's going on with this guy? Like, if you trigger that imagination, that triggers genuine desire. That triggers competition anxiety. That triggers the urgency that she used to have for you before you got married. And now you're married again. It's like, oh, wow, he looks like, because that's what women do when they're prepping to leave a guy. That's when they get the personal trainer. That's when they start, doing their hair different and buying different clothes and going out with the girls and everything like that. It's like, no, honey, everything's fine. I got to go hang out with Brock, my personal trainer. And so, because when women break up with a guy, they do it 6 months before they actually like break up.
Yeah. Let me just say here,
they go, the light comes on in their head because that's what I would do if I was going to cheat.
Dude. Okay. So now any of these weirdos on Twitter, wherever they're at, want to say that Rolo doesn't have game, that he's just this red pill guy. You need to take that clip and just play that for him, because that is exactly the game right there.
Trust me. Let me just say this as Rolo's Vegas liaison here. I know he gets hoes. Okay, trust me. I got to deal with.
I'm just yes, but even just that is the game, though, dude. Like right there, the gradual change and making it organic, so that the girl comes in here, she starts to notice these little things and realize that, okay, this is actually who he is, versus some ultimatum drastic, I'm an alpha now. Guess what, bitch? Yeah, exactly. Like that's in a relationship. When guys are trying to
passive dread game.
Rolo gets votes right when he's on trend.
What's funny is that, like,
though, isn't it? The best medicine is prevention, and so it's better if you can set the frame from the beginning. Because if some girl married Justin Waller, for example, she's going to know what she's signing up for ahead of time, and that's a problem, isn't it? If you went into the marriage as a bit of a chump, and now you're waking up to this stuff and you're thinking, shit, now I need to do something, then that transition is, I don't think it's impossible, but it's going to be harder for that guy to sort of transition. It's like the American Beauty thing, isn't it? Kevin Spacey, and then suddenly starts smoking weed and doing weights and stuff. That's quite a marked transition. Whereas if you can set the frame from the beginning, this is the kind of dude I am, this is how it is, my way or the highway, then I think you're going to have a much better chance of holding frame in that relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and important to mention here too is the issue of comfort. So like, she has needs that she's got to get met, through this exchange or through this relationship. You want desire to be the foundation of it, not transactional needs, but her genuine desire for the person. So the needs are her desire needs, her neurochemical, needs of being attracted to somebody and, having that dopamine when, and getting their sexual needs met and feeling that, that this is the guy and that this is who I want to be with. That's where you want those needs need to be in the forefront. Transactional needs need to be in the background. However, she does have like needs, to use feminine speak, that she expect that she's going to have to get met in the relationship, or she's going to be out of the relationship. And so guys who are doing relationships or whatever, and they read these commandments, this is where like they screw up too, is because they're too dumb when it comes to the game to like understand that there's nuance here, right? And so just because you're on your purpose and you're being the guy, that doesn't mean you never give your girl comfort. You know what I mean? Just because you have, let's say, the ability to sleep with a bunch of girls, that doesn't mean that you make that choice if you're making a commitment to a family, right? Like, it's like there's these nuances here that guys don't understand. Not all guys, of course, but guys who are not good with women. And so that's something that, you know, as people who work with these guys, we need to be clear about those things. What I say about comfort really for guys is that the comfort should come from your leadership, not from you giving up who you are as a man. You know what I'm saying? So you're not giving up your sexual strategy, becoming unattractive, and now she's more comfortable. What you're doing is you're maintaining that state of a guy that women will want to be with and that she would want to be with, the same guy that hopefully she met in the first place. And the comfort comes from how you treat her, how you communicate with her, you know, allowing her to be a part of and having her be a part of your life in a way that other women aren't, right? That's where the comfort comes from. So she has, if you're doing a long-term relationship with a commitment, that's where she has that sense of security. But it should never come from your lack of ability because you gave up who you are as a man. So
answer this guy's question. He's like, you guys talk as if people have no agency.
Who talks like that? I don't know.
That makes no sense. More to the point, put that picture up there.
Most people don't.
I'm gonna tell you guys a story here real
I
quick.
don't understand what he means.
I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick. Okay. So this was like, I think it was in January of 2022, like beginning of 2022. And me and Justin Waller and Tom and a few other people I knew were at the Rebel Capitalist, which is George Gammon's, one of his events. He usually, back then he had two. I think he's only down to one right now. So I'm there. It's the first time I've got Justin Waller there with me, and me and Tom and him are sitting in the restaurant in the host hotel in Frisco, Texas. Right. And, we're sitting there, and I shit you not. We post that picture up there, Thor, the one that I shared with you, and it's down.
Shared one?
Yeah, it's down in the gallery right now.
Okay, we got it, buddy.
Yeah. So we're sitting there eating in this Mexican restaurant, and this chick comes along, and she hands him see, that's a check right there. That's a good say. This wasn't the server, by the way. Right. This is just some random chick that had seen us at the event or somewhere. I don't know, had checked him out during the event, right? Grabs a server ticket, writes her name, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. Writes the number on it and just puts it right down on the table next to her. And she keeps watching. She was a good looking chick too. She walks away and everything. Phone number, everything, just puts it right on there. And I was like, this motherfucker. Most men will never experience this level of genuine desire. This unprompted. You remember when I talk about the 4.5% of women or 4.5% of men that women will initiate a some sort of contact with? Right. Here it is. I've seen it happen live in real time with Justin Waller here. Now I blotted out her phone number, but the long and the short of it is that for people who are saying, you don't have any age, who doesn't have agency? Justin Waller, because he can't stop women from doing that. It's just he just exists, and women will come and do this kind of shit for him. That's you. So as far as agency, yeah, men have agency. Whether or not he wants to follow up on that, that's on him. But you have to remember, when we're talking about free will and moral agency or agency just in general, you have to remember that always comes within the operative condition of what reality is. Okay. So the operative state for Justin Waller is chicks will go and just give him a freaking phone number, just unprompted, unsolicited like that. Okay. So what's his agency and what's his state in that, right? If you're this really, kind of trollish, ugly guy, well, yeah, you still have agency. You have agency to turn yourself into something better. Maybe you don't get up to Waller's level of game, but like you can still improve yourself that much better. So it's not predetermination. I think that's what everybody, whenever I hear that, like, oh, well, so you think it's just like, we're just these animals and these social robots? No, not at all. I don't think anybody in the red pill has ever said anything like that, but you have to also accept the fact that there is certain conditions and limitations and advantages to the reality that you find yourself in. What are you going to do with the cards that you've been dealt? That's really what it's about, but you still have the cards that you've been dealt. So that's the operative state, is your fucking cards. What you do with those is up to you.
Well, yeah. And that's really, so here's another thing. Like the guys will hear that and they'll be like, well, I'm never going to be Justin Waller, so I'll never have a girl have genuine desire for me. So black pill, right? And it's the part that they're missing is the fact that that hamster wheel that guys complain about that women have, right? The rationalization hamster. Okay. When that is the savior of the rest of the guys who aren't Justin Waller. All right. The hamster is what saves your ass, because you can use game, sexual skill, relationship skills, and of course, the fact that you're showing up and being the best that you can be, even though you're not going to be 6'4" with a symmetrical face and, necessarily $10 million, right? I mean, you could have some money at some point. That's an attainable goal, but you get what I'm saying, right? You're not going to be him, but the fact that you're pursuing that, add that to your game, right? Which is a skill set in your communication skills and persuasion skills, how you interact with your partner. Add that to the emotions and feelings she's having, which includes sexual skill, because sexual experience is what causes these high emotional buy-in and stuff like that. Yeah. Add those things. She can look at you with that same desire that someone might have with Justin Waller.
Two things that Justin has that anybody that everybody has control over is their physique. They can go to the gym, and dressing better. Like those are two things that he has that every guy out there has complete agency.
You will never be 6'3", but you can get your fat ass in the gym and at least be the best looking 5'9" dude that is available at that point.
Women can't measure.
Women can't measure. You can get your legs broken and you can have that operation to make yourself 6'3" if you want. But
just wear some boots with an extra little heel. You get an extra
you're only in your own race. You're only competing against yourself. So look, what happens with Justin Waller? Great. Yeah. That's fantastic for him. To me, it doesn't matter, because all I'm concerned with, and all the individual should be concerned with, is okay, what are the cards I've been dealt? What's the best I can do with this particular hand? And actually, the answer for most guys is pretty damn well. If you self-actualize, if you fucking work on the self-improvement, do all the stuff that we're telling you to do, you're running your own race. There's no point in comparing yourself to other people. It's it's got to be solely about, okay, right, this is the kind of dating life I want. These are the kind of women I want to meet. How am I going to put myself in the best position to make that a reality?
Well, doing a lot of that stuff is really having your shit together, right? Yeah. Like, I think, and that's attractive. I believe a happy man is a man with a plan. Like, everybody who's following him is going to be in a better mood. So if you're cueing those signals of working out, taking care of yourself, dressing better, it looks like you take your life serious. Like you're serious about doing things good, and you want to have, how you do one thing is how you do everything. That's gonna, if you're showing up and dressed like Adam Sandler, just playing video games all day, you don't look like you're getting after it.
You also have to think too, in your local area, you're not competing with Justin Waller. If you go to the bar, Justin Waller's not going to be there. You are.
He might be there. Then you'll be able to.
Here's where these guys will.
Okay, then you're fucked. But I guarantee Justin's not hanging out.
Can I just say something on that point? Can I just say something? Say something on that point? If look, you've got to be fucking realistic in this world. Okay, if it's the case that you're in a bar and you're talking to some chick, and then Justin Waller or some Justin Waller-esque character comes in and she starts looking at him, there's a good possibility you're going to lose that chick. It's like if Leonardo DiCaprio walked in, you probably lose that girl. Oh, well, boo fucking who, right? But that was just one woman in one situation. There's
always another woman.
You're always playing your own game because you could walk out of that bar, you could walk to the bar next door. Justin Waller's not in there. You can start talking to another girl. So sometimes you're not going to win them all. You're not going to win them all.
But we have to understand too, though, that if you're with your, let's say, LTR for 6 months, and you've been having this relationship where her emotional buy-in for wanting to be with you and have that relationship's really high, Leonardo DiCaprio or Justin Waller could make a pass at her and she's going to turn him down.
Yeah,
it's true. Reality. And that's what guys need to understand, right? Like once you start, it's not everything is, you know, this is coming. Clearly, this problem is coming from a perspective of guys who are not having relationships with women, guys who are like, well, I'll never make it. You know, it's like, no, dude, when you get into that relationship with her, even if it's just a dating sexual relationship and it's uncommitted, when you start building that, what I call emotional buy-in, you know, that desire can build because she's in this exchange with you over time. And over increasing that desire because you're doing the right things, she's invested now in this relationship with you. She's not going to trade that investment in necessarily for another dude. I've had it happen in my own life, where women I had been dating, you know, had guys who were like Lions players or Pistons players, you know, guys with more SMV than me, right? Have
guys with no championship.
What's that?
Guys with no championship, like the Lions.
Yeah, really? It doesn't matter locally though.
The Lion.
Like, hey man, they got a physique and they're taller and they got a few $1 million. That's all it takes, right?
The great thing about game is though that you've got pretty much unlimited shots. Do you know
right.
What I mean? It's not like you've got unlimited. It's not like, oh shit, I've only got 10 shots and Justin Waller came in then and he ruined it with that chick. So shit, that's one of my shots gone. You've got an unlimited number of shots of the goal. From when you turn 18 to basically to the day you die. Right. So it looks some battles you're not going to win. It's okay, right? And even if the Justin Waller character isn't in the bar, but maybe you start talking to a chick in the bar and then she kind of politely rejects you, and the reason is that, you know, Justin Waller or that guy is in her phone. Well, you know, you're not going to win them all. There is fierce competition in this sexual marketplace, but the more that you get out there, the more women you socialize with, then the more likely it is, and the more you work on yourself, the more likely it is you're going to be getting positive outcomes. And all that matters in the end is the positive outcomes that you get. The rejections don't fucking matter. You've just got to put that out of your mind. It's going to happen anyway.
It's the law of averages. It's the law of averages, and if you learn game, that actually increases your odds with the law of averages.
Absolutely.
Right. But again, don't forget in the relationship too. That's the important part. Like once you get that girl and things are happening, like I'm going to tell you, these are bad examples, obviously, of what not. I'm not saying someone should be a cult leader, but think Charles Manson's going to prison for the rest of his life. He's got girls carving X's in their foreheads and showing up and being, you know, there were girls that were quote unquote in love with that guy years after the dude had gone to prison. They weren't trading necessarily for a Justin Waller, and that dude was a weirdo. You know what I mean? He was not an attractive man. He was 5'3", like he violates all of the rules for black pillars, but because he was able to create with his frame, unfortunately, he's a parasitic person. But that frame, you know, caused such a high buy-in that these girls weren't trading them in for anybody else. And that's what that does for you. That's what frame does for you. That's what understanding this stuff does for you. It allows you to have relationships where they see you as the best because of what they're experiencing in that relationship with you.
Well, let's be honest. Like most guys just like to adapt the victim mentality. In all this, like we're giving them all these maxims, all these commandments, right? The 9 iron rules, but they're like, why do I have to do this? Why can't I just be loved the way I am? Why can't I just look like Jack? You know, like they don't want to have to put in the work, so they're just being just as feminine or they'll be
Just
more
slow,
feminine than the women that they want to be.
Well, that's that's the thing, you know. A lot of these guys get playing, like, let's go to dating apps. A lot of guys get playing. Well, only 20% of chicks or 20% of guys are getting all the play on dating apps. That's because 80% of you guys can't be bothered to get some good pictures. You know, like,
or have a photo with
the smallest amount of effort is too much.
Or have a photo with your Legos. I mean,
hey, that works.
Dude,
Legos
pull, dude. Legos.
Jack got that Lego game. He pulls that Lego out and he's like, "Look,
I pull American swim."
Look what these fingers can do.
Jack says, "Look, I make American bitches come out here and fly to me. I get them passport hoes."
Sorry. Yeah, a lot of guys dating.
Jack got them passport hoes.
A lot of guys dating
I
profiles.
knew somebody was gonna say that, make the female version of Passport Bros, but I was like, yeah, I can't really do that right now.
No, you can't, but I can.
You're not allowed to make that joke, but we could do that.
Yeah, fair game.
But
what was I about to say? Oh yeah, the Tinder thing. Look, in all honesty, if you want to have success at Tinder, I'm gonna be blunt here. Just get to the gym, have a little bit of a low body fat percentage, and make like an action shot. And you're already in the top 20% of Tinder. It's not that fucking hard.
It's really not.
Yeah, it's really not.
A little tiny bit of effort, but guys
It's
won't
just
even.
a little bit. You don't even need a haircut.
She should like me for how
Tinder profiles that they've sent me for consultations, and a lot of them are just fucking dog shit, man. To be honest, I mean, you look at it and you're like, I'm not surprised you're not getting any fucking matches, and then it's like, oh man, the market's so tough. It's like, well, your pictures are shit. You're standing in a fucking, I don't know, man. You've got to think about the backgrounds as well. It's not just how aesthetically you look. You go and choose a picture. You think,
the selfie in front of the toilet with the
the
dirty background.
Exactly. It's also like how you carry yourself in public, right? When I met up with Paul Bauer, or not Paul, but Paul Benjamin in San Diego, we walked from MLD's thing to a restaurant, right? And I kid you not, just walking, two separate broads stopped him. Just to talk shit to him, and he could have pulled them, and it was just the way that he carried himself, the confidence. He's like, "Yo, I know."
Just pretend I'm Justin Waller when I walked on the street.
It's like, and I'm looking down at Paul because Paul's shorter than me. I'm looking down and I'm like, "Look at this little man over here." and the thing is, it's just like, what did Paul have? Well, the girls didn't know if he had status. The girls didn't know if he had status or who he didn't advertise who he was. He just carried himself as, I'm that guy. Why did he was able to carry himself as he's that guy? Because he put into work to the confidence in himself to know that he's that guy. And a lot of these guys don't want to do
it's
that.
conveying body language of the person who is Justin Waller.
Yeah.
It's just, it's training, it's skills.
They call it, I think, big dick energy. The first time I ever heard that was the girl who I started dating. The first time she saw me, she was like, "You definitely had BDE." I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah,
I don't have
take gas station boner pills before you guys hang out.
They refer to that in NLP as modeling. Modeling. I'm learning NLP now. Yeah.
So when are we going to have Glenn Lawrence versus Paul Benjamin?
I'm learning NLP now.
What?
Emotional.
That's called modeling.
That's called modeling. Yeah.
Modeling. I don't know if you know.
When are we going to have Glenn Lawrence versus Paul Benjamin?
Well, after I put Lawrence. Once I put the other Paul in a casket, Paul Benjamin could, jump the swing just to hit me in the knees.
You're never taking this title from me, Glenn.
It'll be the worst knee shot you've ever had in your life.
I'll be crippled, but you know what?
You are 1 week away from the beating of a lifetime.
Hey, Paul, Glenn never told you with what you can hit him in the knees with. I've seen what you have. It's like,
no, I've seen Paul in person. His fist alone would do enough damage to the kneecap.
he's the juggernaut in real life.
I'm waiting for is when we're gonna see Rollo versus Thor in the ring. That would be a good one. You got
ding.
I'm just saying we got to go for that's like there's like different classes in fighting. In
they
bodybuilding, there's the master class. I think Rollo and Thor hit the master class.
They tried hobo fights once before, and that just wasn't that popular. Hobo fights didn't make it.
Actually, they made a lot of money, but they got sued, didn't they?
Well, the problem is, you lose to an old man. Well, you lost to an old man. You beat an old man up. You just beat an old man up. What the hell?
So when did you stop beating your wife? It's kind of like that.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And John's over here sitting here like, I'm the real champ, guys. I'm the real new. Put this in the work every day.
I think Rolo and I'll just stand back to back and beat all your asses.
John is secretly getting a kick out of all this kayfabe shit.
Come at me, old man. Come at me.
Yeah. And if we need help, we'll get Aaron in there.
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't count.
Let the wind blow.
Here we go. He's stretching. He's stretching.
It's like
show the bicep.
I don't know if you guys know, but I've been on Tren.
That's my drug. That's mine.
Aren't we all on Tren?
Full view, Rolo.
Yes, Rolo Tren.
Your bovine steroids. Keep them to yourself.
That's Rolo Maxim number 50, right? Always
Tren.
Rolo Sarmzati.
Tren pill.
No, it's Tren hard, eat clean.
Tren hard, eat clean. Yeah, I've seen you got that Tremboloni sandwiches on lock.
Well, actually,
you think
talking about working out, Rolo, Hide just hit me up about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You're going to be doing a workout with him
cool.
on the 4th at 11:30.
Nice.
With whom?
With the world champion of bodybuilding of the world.
Yes. WBB, World Bodybuilding Federation.
That's fantastic, man.
I didn't catch his name.
Are you guys doing it at the gym?
He won the last competition in Romania.
Yeah.
Ooh, land of 1,000 skanks.
1,000 opportunities.
Yes.
We made a joke about capping.
Everybody can win anything they want, right?
So I think we should do a Royal Rumble, all of us against John. I mean, I think that would.
Is that fair?
For us, yes.
I know. Fitch starts tapping people out. We're like, wait a second. No, this is supposed to be.
This was a bad idea.
Rolo and I don't have Medicare yet. Okay. Rolo and I are just shy of Medicare, so we don't want to do that yet.
Yeah. Rolo must be juicing, man. Once you see the interview of Hide Yamagishi, you'll have a completely different understanding of all of this.
Dude, it's gonna be so
it's
cool because we're gonna film the first hour of you guys working out together, and then we're going to the studio. So it's gonna be amazing.
I love the comments I get. You guys should go look up Rolo from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago or when he was on with 21 Convention. I'm like, yeah, I was completely different physique back then.
I saw our old interview.
I want you to.
I saw our old interview a while back. I'm like, holy shit, that's a completely different Rolo.
He must have beat cancer. Thanks, man. Jesus Christ. Can I not fucking own this, please?
Yeah, you can. You should.
That's all the one small thing.
No, but you sat there with like the flannel and like the cap. It's like, what the hell? I'm gonna look at him now. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I guess I have one found, but that was when I lived in Gardnerville and it was freezing ass in that studio. Yep.
Long time ago.
Well,
with
good
the
job,
Warhammer flag.
doing good, man.
Trying do myself. Well, I'll tell you that it makes it a whole lot easier when once I moved to Red One Studios, the Northern Command Center. My gym is within walking distance. Sometimes I'll even just take my skateboard and skate there, go work out, come back. Sometimes I even get 2 in a day. So.
Oh, is that the gym we went to? You and me?
No, it's the one up here in Reno.
Oh, nice.
You're thinking of Powerhouse down in Las Vegas.
Iris.
That's where he. That's the one.
That's Hide's gym. Hide
and Iris. Yeah, nicest people.
Yeah, that's not a community center gym. That's a real fucking gym.
That's a real gym.
It's so real. They have what's that? The pendulum squat. It does one thing very well, but it does one fucking. Look up pendulum squat. Oh my!
I don't want to do it.
You will find God in that machine.
Yep.
No. Yes, Lord, please get me out of this.
Hey, Paul, if you survive the work of the fight, I might take you to the gym. But you know what? I can't let you in that gym because you're not like you have to be able to win the fight. Well, so you have to be able to prove yourself that you're a man.
Don't worry about that.
I heard you got to have at least 18 or 19-inch arms to enter. They had a tape.
You have to bench at least.
You guys are going to do it. Are you guys going to actually do it again and not blame it on some bullshit reason about like your promoter bailed out?
Yeah, we're doing it.
We're going to make this happen.
We're doing it.
It's going to be a boneyard match if
you're going to be there.
Do it.
Am I gonna be the ref? Is that what you want me to do?
No, you're just gonna be there to kick
I don't even know the rules
after he loses.
Oh, I see. You want me to be Ed McMahon, right?
Yeah.
We'll both be there.
Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon.
Not Ed McMahon. All right, today on our show today. I can be Ed McMahon too at the same time.
You're fired. Yeah.
We got Miguel and Charlie showing up for this.
Yes. They're McMahons. I know that. Good.
We got Miguel and Charlie showing up for this.
Fucking name, McMahon.
Thor's coming out. Thor's coming out.
Yep.
I'll be there Friday and Saturday. Absolutely, guys.
Yep.
I think Nuclear Cadillo is coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's
if there is ever a professional wrestling name, it was Nuclear Claudio. Claudio. Yes.
Claudio. The white boy pronunciation. Right.
Yes.
I want to say, like, you know what's cool about what we're doing though out here, Rolo, and I know it's kind of off tangent, is that we're actually unifying and bringing a lot of people together in this Red Pill space.
Oh yeah, for
with
sure.
Red One Studios, like, and it's developing into a huge network, more than it already is. But it's just consolidating the network in one location and bringing all these people together. Like, you know, we you know,
that's why I said fucking Vegas is a place, man. It's a hub.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can get direct flights into Las Vegas and the clubs make it cheap. That's great, man. I think you know, I'm glad you said that, because like, here we are like a year out. Like I did about a 2.5 hour interview with Mike Sartain, because that's how all this got started, was me and Mike doing an interview back in like August or September of last year. And his birthday's coming up. And so we kind of mark the anniversary of Access Vegas and all this stuff, like right around this time of year. And I was thinking, man, we have actually come a long fucking way in really under a year, but like within a year. And, you know, going from like being completely unknown to like being like the #1 podcast in Vegas anyways. And then just the direction we've been going and just consolidating everything. And then, you know, Charlie moves out here and Miguel's already here, and we're really putting things together. And, you know, we got the Savos doing their movie. We got you guys doing your bullshit professional wrestling gig. And, you know, I mean, we just have, and then what did we shoot? We shot a video on a private jet with Robert Kiyosaki, and almost got a real high fine for that too.
$190,000 fine.
Yes, $100,000+ fine. Yeah, $200,000.
Why?
Because
let's just say there's rules that you can't film on a tarmac, and we didn't get a permit, and yeah,
I thought Vegas was the land of no permits.
Except for when TSA is involved on the tarmac.
Exactly.
And then we fixed it. We made it
and out of quite often. So
yeah. And then we took a negative problem and we made it a great success. We went out to dinner with Robert Kiyosaki and McElroy, right?
Yes, we snatched victory from the jaws of
defeat.
That's great. It's really good that you guys have a Red One is operational, right?
Yep, more or less.
Good.
We still have some things that we need to work out on.
Good. Can't wait to take a look at it, guys. We've been at it for an hour and a half. We threw some commandments up there. Let's go ahead and go round the horn. We'll start with John Fitch, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up in that order. So, John, give us your info. What's going on, man? What's happening later?
Yeah, guys, check out johnfitch.net. Sign up for the newsletter. I have programs up on Gumroad, whether you need jiu-jitsu, MMA stuff, fighting stuff. I got a neck care guide, meal plan stuff, fitness stuff, got it all, got you covered. Check it out. That's about all I got. I got available for seminars, private lessons, small groups, and stuff too. I got a wrestling class here in San Jose I got to get to real quick. So if you're in town, let's get some wrestling in.
Sounds good. Glenn Lawrence, the producer at Red One Studios.
Yeah, what I got going on, man. I've had a busy week. We worked with Rolo, Tiffany Fox, and then I did a couple shows. I did a show with Andrew Wilson last night. You guys check out. It's a good show. We had a good conversation. What am I doing this week? Well, this is like the final prep week, right? This is the final prep week before I bury this jabroni. All he does is talk. Like, you notice that, like, I'm silent. You know why I'm silent? Because I'm training. I'm taking this seriously.
Rolo's got you on a short leash. That's why.
I'm on no leash. I'm in the gym. What are you on? You're on Twitter, tweeting,
running.
Oh,
he's
you know,
running.
That's cute.
Hey, I've got good time management skills.
All I'm gonna say is like this guy needs to put his money where his mouth is. When he comes to Vegas, you know what? Vegas is a body, has a corpse, a lot of corpses out here. We have a desert. Okay, we can bury you. Nobody gonna find you. Nobody gonna find you. It'll be come on your girl's podcast. Who? Yeah, nobody knows you, and you won't be found. So just come on out here, bring me my belt. All right, take the whooping. All right, and then we'll do a little seminar for you. We'll have a lighter ceremony. We'll put a flame out or something. I don't know. We'll play your favorite song. But that's about it, because you're going to be forgotten.
Wow.
Glenn, I am missing the rasp in your voice. It would have sounded so much cooler if you would have done that. Like,
look, I'm going to smash this little candy ass right here. I'm going to whoop him with his own belt. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to make his girl a widow. Damn right. Nurse Chick is going to find Dr. Dude, because this jabroni will not be here for Nurse Chick.
Very good, very good, very good. Paul, Apex Mindset, always a pleasure to have you on. We got to get you on the Dragon Ship one of these days. I know you got some topics you want to do. Let's do a panel show. What's going on, Paul? Oh, you're muted. Mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's a time slot. I got to make some time for it. That Saturday. I know it's morning for you, but it's afternoon for me. Here. And that's Saturday afternoon stuff, but we'll make some time, dude. You know it. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess for me, okay. So I have a new channel, Apex Inner Game. If you guys are watching this, go over there, just hit that subscribe button. I'm doing action-packed 7-8 minute videos over there that are doing like pretty solid for those that when people click on it, they watch them because they're good, but it's a new channel. So, not a lot of views yet, not a lot of clicks. You really helped me out to go over there. The reason I have that channel is because I'm thoroughly convinced after talking to a few experts that my main channel is mainly shadow banned. And so that's okay. I do it's now changed the name to Apex Underground Pod Class over there because, if you're in the Rule Zero crowd, if you're in kind of inner circles of intersexual dynamics, know who I am. That's where you go to get longer form stuff. And I'm not interested. I mean, the channel will build as it does, but it only builds organically. It doesn't build because YouTube does anything, So you guys want more of deep dive stuff, the main channel, Apex Mindset, but the new one is where I'm going to try to get this information that we talk about to men that need it, that haven't heard it before. People outside of the circles we're already in that need to hear it, that are looking for answers. That's where, trying to get that reach, because we got to, help as many people out as we can. Right. So, and also then get on my, my exclusive list with the newsletter and stuff. There's links for that in my videos. That's things outside of YouTube, whatever. These are all low cost to no cost options. If you want a high cost option, I am rolling out a personal coaching program for an inner circle of guys, 10 guys for the next year. So schedule that appointment through one of my links for, the Mastermind and Seduction program. But really I'm only taking 10 right now. For working with me in a kind of an inner circle coaching program. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'll talk more about that on my platform. So, and that's it.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me out again.
So, you guys don't know that me and Paul have this plan. We're going to get rid of the fake Paul and only have one Paul. So that's why we're bringing. Come on, girls!
I've been orchestrating.
Paul's
this shit somehow.
Like secretly behind the scenes. I had to put it out there,
I'll just be sitting there in a black robe doing this, watching the match.
He's like, you got to get rid of that other Paul. I was the original.
He has a successful podcast. I don't like it. Oh, by the way, I'll be on Paul's podcast on Monday.
Good.
What? It's a pre-record, so you'll see. You guys will catch it down the road.
All right, guys.
That's right. It's pre-record, so it'll be like a month.
Balls together is better than one Paul.
That's right.
Be careful.
Paul and Paul connection. That's
be careful, man. Paul and Paul.
So guys, I've got to bounce in a second. So I've got a couple of coaching events coming up. So if you want some actual in the field practical training on how to actually get with attractive women, how to do the whole process, you see her, you go up to her, you have a conversation. amazingly. In 2023, you actually have to talk to her. You get a phone number, you go for a date. We'll train you through the whole process. We'll look at your body language. We'll look at your verbal skills. We'll look at your eye contact, the way that you stand in proximity to the girl, your use of touch, all of these different things. We're going to look at everything. We're going to strip it down, and we're going to rebuild you as the optimal, edgy dating guy that you need to be in 2023 going into 2024. So we've got 2 events coming up. We've got Mexico City, which is next weekend, so the 5th to the 8th of October. And then we've got Bogota in Colombia, which is the 19th to the 22nd of October. So if either of those are interesting to you, you can get either to Mexico City or you can get to Bogota. In Colombia, then just drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, or send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and put your WhatsApp details and we can discuss. I'm also going to be in Miami in between those times, and I'm going to be in New York City as well. So if there's anybody who is in either of those places and you want to discuss, some coaching, then again, email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, or DM me on any of the platforms, put your WhatsApp details, put your phone number, whatever. We'll have a chat and we'll take it from there.
Troy, we got to get you back out to Vegas, man. We got to get you back out to Vegas.
Absolutely, man. Well, look, I'm going to try and put Vegas in there as well. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that behind,
Troy, real quick, how many tattoos you got now?
4.
Nice.
And I want to get some more. When I go to Mexico City, I want to get one, and I would like to get one in Colombia as well. And I want to get one in Vegas. I want to get one in Vegas, of course, man. I mean, fucking hell, it's the capital.
You know what, Troy? You come to Vegas, we'll get tattoos.
Mate, I'm up for it. I'm up for it, 100%, man. We'll do it.
They do good tramp stamps in Vegas, I understand.
Yeah. Are you guys going to get butterflies on your lower back?
Doing?
No, we're not going to get the tattoo that you have, Paul. We already know that you have the tramp stamp.
Get the little targets on your back.
Oh my god.
All right, guys, I got to bounce. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Master narrator of the Book of Pook. What's up, Jack?
The link to my channel is in the chat. We just had Red Evening with Cappy, which was a hell of a lot of fun. I haven't talked to him in ages. It was a good hangout. This past week, I had a conversation with Archwinger, one of the moderators from Married Red Pill. And there was something else I did this last week. What was it? Oh, yeah, my a solo show on the McDonald's ad that everybody tells you people are angry about, but it turns out nobody's angry about it. People just keep telling you people are angry about it, so it's all one giant kayfabe. And tomorrow I'm hanging out with Nuke, Dante, Red Hawk, and Chesty, Rule Zero Dad, one of the old moderators as well, discussing why you should get married.
Oh, here we go. We're doing this again.
Excellent.
Wow.
Thank you, Jack. Wow. World Manosphere Champion. Would you like to say your piece?
Yeah, look.
Let me go ahead and start by saying
easy.
I thought you said the champion.
Hold on. There we go. We are 1 week out from Glenn Lawrence getting the ass beating of a lifetime. Fall Fight Club is going down next Saturday. You guys can watch it a week or two later on pay-per-view. The link is in the live chat.
I noticed old Glenn shaved so it's easier to do clean stitching without the beard in the way. That's the way I understand it.
That's smart. Yeah. Well, actually, he needs that for his luchador mask.
I know. I'm just kidding. Guys, it's real simple. I'm giving you, all the Rule Zero fans, a free chapter of my book, A Dominant Masculine Presence, right now in the chat. Just use the code RULEZEROFAN, and you'll get free chapter 4, which is the 7 skills of a dominant masculine presence. And contrary to popular feminist belief, it is not a BDSM book. But while marriage won't fix society, men acquiring a dominant masculine presence will. And with that, guys, I'll see you.
Get your hard copy on Amazon.
Yeah, you sure can. You can see it all on Amazon. And come on over in 20 minutes to mine and Paul's channel and Glenn's channel and join the Dragon Ship. We're going to talk about why marriage will fix. Why it will fix everything. Marriage will fix it all. And we'll chop it up on that on the Dragon Ship in about 20 minutes. Till then, it's the Rule Zero. Skull, guys.